blurring the lines between real life and Second Life. Bringing you in-depth information about the people behind the avatars. Giving you insight like you've never heard before. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fourth Wall with Paul and BK.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fourth Wall. I'm the scumbag superstar Paul Slater alongside my podcast partner, BK. Z, unfortunately, is not feeling well today, won't be joining us. And BK, we have a big guest today. We were just talking to Vince Aftermath last week, and we got a Hall of Famer guest today.
Absolutely, and this is actually a guy that, believe it or not, he actually had a small short feud where he had to contend with me and Insidious at one time. He's been around for quite a while. He has had some really, really good storylines. He's had some really good feuds. He's been a multiple-time champion. I mean, what else can we say about the guy? We have the one, and I don't even know if he's going by this anymore, but I'm going to say it because this is what I know him as. But ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today the Hornet, Isaiah Jenkins. Isaiah, welcome to the
show. I haven't heard the name Insidious in years. Okay.
Oh, did you have me listen? Did you have me listen to the show very much? Because we talk. I talk about him a couple of times.
Oh, no, I'm not like personally. Like I haven't seen him around or anything. Like it's weird.
Yeah, we.
He's buried.
Paul and I. He's buried right now. Paul and I brought him back for a feud in OAW that unfortunately got cut short, and then we were going to bring him back for something else, and that got cut short. So yeah, he's kind of dead and he's not
never
dead.
Say never, though.
Right, he's kind of buried. So Isaiah, it's been a while. I mean, it's been a long while since Paul or I have had any interactions with you. Like I said, I believe the last time you and I interacted was the storyline that we had where you were actually the face and I was the heel, and I was trying to pull the whole I don't have time for you, but I'm gonna send somebody else down. And it was the Inferno match that you and Insidious had. Was the last time you and I.
One of the first Inferno matches I've had, and I think, to be honest, I blame you now that I think about it. I blame you for I have a fetish for like fire in matches now.
So does that mean that your partner, you nickname any girl that you're with, your partner, your girlfriend, you nickname them Fire now?
Oh God, no.
But anyway, that was the last time that we actually interacted. Was right after the Inferno match. So we haven't had much going on. So what's been going on with you since then?
Like you said, I've won a couple. I lost a couple. Gotten the Hall of Fame. I'm actually on my last season of being in the management position over at PW now.
Now, is this a management, like you are actually management, or is this like an in-character storyline thing?
Just like in management. I am the head of creative over there, but you do so much for so long, and you just kind of like it's time to pass the torch to someone else.
But wait a minute, I just got drafted by Overload, and you're not gonna be able to look over my story submissions.
One more season.
Okay, so you will.
One more season. So
you're the one that gets to look him out and go, what the fuck is he writing?
No, I'm actually the one that gets to do all your merch and stuff. Like I put your faces on like panties and stuff.
Oh.
Alrighty then.
So Isaiah, being in that, let's talk about the management real quick. What are some of the struggles? Like we had a few people on here, Fed owners, we have creative people on here. What are some of the struggles that you deal with being in that type of management, dealing with some of the things you have to do?
The main struggle is getting people to leave you alone. I don't know if it makes sense, but I grew up an only child, so I have a mind complex, and what's mine is mine. Don't touch what's mine, and I don't mind help, but when people come in, they just do shit without telling you, and it's like, stop, don't do this. You want to like take them and slap them on the hand? No.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like when you have an idea and it, doesn't manifest or doesn't get done as quick as somebody else does, they go and do it anyway and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, we did it anyway." And it's like, well, then why am I here?
That drives me fucking bonkers, dude.
Yeah, Paul and I have ran into that a few times. Or you run into the thing where you have a great story written, you submit it, and then when it comes back, somebody throws in what they believe is a great story and screws it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't tell me that hadn't happened to you.
Oh, it's more times than I have entered the ring, I have come up with a story that either gets dropped or tweaked where I don't even recognize it anymore. It's like, okay, I want to do this match where I'm being like possessed by, I don't know, the ancestors of an old Japanese man, and someone has to like kick the shit out of me to bring me back to my senses. Oh, that's nice and all, but now you're gonna have like an adopted child, and it's like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of like that's kind of like something that Paul and I talked about. It wasn't too long ago, as a matter of fact. Paul had this idea for a story, and it's something that he and I would if we were writing together, if we were on the same thing, it was something that I'd probably write. And he submitted it to whoever it was, and they come back and had something. Paul's like, "What the fuck are you smoking?"
yeah. Sometimes it don't make sense, and you're like, I wouldn't do this. I don't know why this is on this paper.
All right,
And
so
that's what,
Isaiah, if you go ahead, I'm sorry.
and that's one thing is that some people they mean well, but they don't know your character, and they give you this idea for your character, and you have to look at them and ask them, "Are you smoking dog food?"
Okay,
Yeah,
let me ask you this.
dealt
Okay,
with
you're
that
saying
more
that people
times than not.
right. Okay, so you just got done saying that people don't recognize your character. Here's something now, Paul. Here's something you and I have talked about, but we've never really asked anybody that's ever been in any management position. So I'm going to put Isaiah on this one. Now, Isaiah, when I ask you this, I'm not asking you to dog anybody. I'm not asking you to no bashing or anything else. But when you're talking about people not knowing your character, do you feel that maybe it would be a benefit if now when I say everybody, I'm talking about people in management positions. Doesn't matter what fed you're in, PW, VWE, BCW, LPW, UFW, any of them. Do you think that it would be beneficial if the people would kind of stop being in their own little world, in their own little bubble, and actually get out to see who else is out there and what else is going on, and maybe take ideas and say, oh, if this person ever comes available, I think they may be really good, as opposed to somebody coming in, applying, and they're saying, we don't know anything about you, so we don't know what we're going to do with you.
Bro,
Do
that would
you
be
think?
that
Do
would
you
be
think? Do you think that that is a big flaw when it comes to knowing who can do what and knowing about people's characters, no matter what fed they're in?
that would be fucking amazing, because there are so many people that now that I'm working over at VWE, there's so many people that have amazing characters, amazing stories, and they have this aura about them that I didn't even know existed until I went over there. And I had my blinders on. And as someone in management for any Fed, or as an owner of any Fed, you should be going out there, not to poach or anything, but just to see what's out there. You say, hey, this guy's doing good. Hey, that lady's doing good. Just give people kudos. Don't say, oh, I need them for my Fed, I'm going to take them away. Just be like, oh, hey, bro, you did good out there. You did your thing. Just
Right.
like, people are so scared to lose what they have that they're not expanding themselves to other like possibilities.
Well, also
Well, see
too,
that.
it's like I mean, I did this in OEW. It was like I will go to a lot of shows just to see what people were doing. So I made sure, especially if I was writing or if I was in charge of writing for somebody, to make sure I wasn't going to do the same thing as somebody else was doing somewhere else.
Exactly. It's like, if I went to another Fed and I saw someone trying to do the same thing that Ren and Jordan and I are doing over at VWE, I would be pissed off, because Onyx is our baby. We came up with that because it was at a moment where all three of us felt underappreciated, and we took that and we were like, we're gonna make them notice us together, you know. So if I saw someone doing that on another Fed without even without giving us our kudos, that would piss me off. So like, seeing other people doing other things saves you from saying, hey, This person is doing my thing. This person is wearing the same mask as me. This person is wearing the same face paint as me. Do you know how many times, as creative, I have run across the people who's like, oh, this person's wearing the same face mask as me. This person's wearing the same mask. This person's wearing the same makeup. It's like, bro, you do your character, and no one's gonna give a fuck about this other dude. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, because it is a sell, and it's not like honestly, it's not like Ariel, where you can go up to the seamstress, or you can go up to somebody and say, "Hey, I want this, but I want something that nobody else has." And it's like if it's SL, it is what it is. You buy what you buy. If you have 3 people that like the same thing, so what? You can still wear the same thing, just play your character different to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, okay, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Oh, Jordan, Ren, and I, we basically have the same gear, but it's all different. Like, we each have our logos on the butt. I think Ren's boots are red and black. My boots are black and gold because, I'm the gold standard.
Right.
I hate that when people
guy.
say that, by the way. I hate when people say that about themselves. And I think Jordan's is all white. And we all look different, and we all carry ourselves different. And we've made a little comparison to ourselves. We are basically the 3 kings of Lion King because we got Mufasa, Scar, and Simba.
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah.
So my question is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talk about let's stay on the VWE thing. So me and you discussed this prior before the show. I was in Premiere when I started. I mean, VWE I don't want to say they were enemies, but they were like, it felt like there was always a competition between Premiere and VWE, and this was 5 years ago. I'm sure, in some cases, maybe it runs true today. But when I remember I went to a show and I'm like, holy shit, like Isaiah Jenkins is here. Like, man, did he quit PW? How did all that come about where like you jump into VWE, which was like, quote unquote, maybe the enemy? It was like, how did that all come about? Because that's something I never thought was going to happen. We touched this with Vince the other day about, how a lot of the other stuff happened. I seen a tweet with Vince sitting at the VWE ringside and put a tweet out to him. How did all the VWE thing come about?
Okay, so the season prior to me going over to VWE, I had did this whole turn on the fans where I was like, no one loves me. Everyone's done, wrong around me. I've done all I can for the fans. I've broken my back for the fans. No one appreciates me. And then I just like hard quit in the middle of the match. Like I just like left everything. I even left the Discord servers.
Was that planned?
That was planned. I told Vince this. He was like, go ahead.
Okay, because the only reason why I ask it, and of course I'm much the only reason why I ask because Paul and I had that whole thing planned about him getting up and quitting at FPW in the middle of the and everybody thought it was real. That's how well we sold it. So that's why I had to ask: was it real or was it set up?
Yeah, I was offline for like a good week and a half, 2 weeks, and everyone thought I like legit quit Second Life.
Nice touch. I like that.
So do I.
But the plan was when I went over to the Elimination Royal that no one knew that I was even going to be in it except the people I was directly fighting with, Ren Blackheart, Jordan, Vince, and Michael Carson.
Why do I have a feeling this is kind of like when Lex Luger showed up on Nitro that Monday, on Nitro that very first night at the Mall of America. Nobody expected him to be there. Yeah,
it was supposed to be this whole thing where it's like I was supposed to be there, and did he quit PW? Is he with VWE? Why is he hanging out with? It's supposed to be this whole thing, but it got spoiled. So we just,
Oh, who spoiled it?
Luke.
Wait, who did?
I think what's his other name? Okay, I can't think of his other name.
Luca, LBA?
No, not Luca.
Oh, I was gonna say it better not be Luca. I'll kick his ass. He's our staff.
No, not Luca. Me and Luca are tight.
Okay.
That's nephew.
Okay, gotcha.
No, like he's pulling to the whole roster, and I'm like, bro, why?
See, that would have been grounds for, you know what? Let's put you in a gauntlet match, and everybody just come out with sledgehammers and chairs and cinder blocks and everything else, and just beat sense into him.
When I tell you, I had to bite my tongue so hard that I almost bit it off. I was legit pissed off at this guy.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was why? It was like this big thing that we were building up, and it was just like, oh, well, now everyone knows, so it's not a surprise anymore.
Right. That's how that really.
Yeah, I mean,
sucks.
all that hard work that goes into it, like, you know what I mean? Everything you did, you stayed offline for 2 weeks. It sucks kind of that it was, spoiled.
Because that's actually what Paul and I did. Because when we did the whole thing where he abducted me, he went offline, and I even went in and changed my avatar. You know how on Discord it's got your little picture up there.
Yeah.
I changed it to those pictures that you used to see back in the day when the TV companies would go offline.
Have you seen this
night.
person?
Static.
No. The static thing that had the different colors, rainbow bar. Yeah, I had that. Brilliant. I had that as mine, and then had it. I was actually on, but I had showing myself offline the entire time that we were doing this whole thing with the videos that Paul was sending in. We were doing the whole thing, and neither one of us was. We didn't show up back online for what was it, Paul? 4 weeks?
Yeah, for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of stuff we did. So I can get you on that. That was a brilliant move.
I like that. I mean, I like that. It's that commitment that not a lot of people are willing to do. Like you did. Like you left a server. You did it. You know what I mean? Like, and then to have it, like you're building up that reveal, that payoff to where it's all gonna, and then it's people talk about it. You're like, shit.
Yeah, it's kind of it's the little details that make real stories. So, if you've listened to the show, which I know you've listened to a few episodes, we're going to go back. We're going to do the same things. We want to know about everybody. Yes, we know who Isaiah Jenkins is as far as in world. We've worked with you. We've talked to you. We know enough about you that we know, except for the fact we lost touch over the past few years. But what about the man behind the screen? What is your story on how you got into wrestling, and how did you get in SL and Fine Wrestling? Because I know you're really good friends with Trey Steele. I know you're good friends with Trey Steele, and I got a feeling he's come into play in some of this. But I want to hear from you how your little journey started and ended.
Actually, Trey Steele has nothing to do with why I got into wrestling.
Yes, Trey Steele can't take credit for something. Yes, no, I like Trey.
No, I came over to Second Life from IMVU. And there was a big group of us back then. We wanted more from these games, and we wanted to build stuff, and we wanted to voice. We wanted to actually move around without sitting on pose balls. So one of my friends was like, "Hey, there's this game, Second Life." I'm like, "What the fuck is Second Life? It sounds stupid." And now I'm 14 years later. I'm the only one of our group still here.
But so what is IMBU? What is that?
It's kind of like Diet Second Life, but you can only do things on pose balls. Like if you want to go to a different room, you have to click on a pose ball, and your little dude will go over there. It's
okay.
It was fun until you realize how limited it was.
Right. Okay. So you went from IMBU to Second Life.
Yes.
So
I was Apollo Cypress for a while.
Right. All right. So let's pause the Second Life being in there since you told us that. So let's go to your wrestling. How did you get started? Because I know you probably heard our stories about grandfather and friends and family. So what's your story?
Well, I was at a college roleplay sim with I was in the same fraternity as Doobie, Avi Hunter, and Ace.
Doobie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ace and Hunter actually came over to PW. I don't know how they got in it, but they pulled us over with it. They're like, "Hey, this is fun. You should come do it." I was like, "Okay, I'll come and watch, but that's not my thing. I'm too pretty." So I watched a couple episodes, and Ace was actually, he was like, "Hey, you should come and do this. Just come and practice with me." I'm like, I'll help you practice. No, not a big deal. And I just I guess I was just picking it up, and then they brought me to Vince, and Vince was like, "Put him on the roster." I'm like, "What?" Like my first season there, I was like, wait, am I like on the roster now? I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I was still practicing the first season. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah,
now
right.
Now look at you.
Yeah, now look at you. You went from what the fuck? You went from what the fuck am I doing to hey, fucking look at me.
Yeah, I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right.
So how did you become?
Watching other people to watching me? Yeah.
So how did you become a real life wrestling fan? Like, what was like one of the first memories you had of being a real life wrestling fan?
Oh God.
Or are you even a real life wrestling fan?
I am a real life wrestling
fan. We were talking for a while about it.
Oh, okay.
As far back as I can remember, my uncles have always had it on and in the house because I grew up in a southern black, less than wealthy family. So,
really?
It was like
you grew up in a black family? Really?
So like 7, 8, 9 people in one household,
Okay. Old school.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I had this one uncle, he was hardcore WCW, and the other uncle, he was hardcore WWF.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so in between commercial breaks, we had like switch one TV, and then we like switch the channel to see what's on the other. And it was like, because you can only have one TV in the house, so we're like switching channels between the two.
So you actually almost could say you got the best of both worlds during the Monday Night Wars.
You could say that, but I was the remote. They're like, switch it to mine. No, switch it to mine. I was sitting by the TV, the big old school box TVs with the wood grain on it. Yeah. I switched the knobs and shit. That was me. I was the knob switcher.
The big old console TVs.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't realize you were that old.
Yeah, I am.
I thought you were
39, my guy.
You're how old?
39.
Oh, geez, I'm still almost 15 years older than you. I'm 15 years older than you almost. I didn't realize you would have noticed. No, there's no way you knew about the big TVs if you were born in the 80s.
Yeah, 85. Like,
okay.
My uncle bought that TV from the department store that he worked at because they were closing down.
Oh, let me guess, Montgomery Ward's. Montgomery Ward?
Huh?
Sears and Roebuck?
It was a pawn shop.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Basically, it was a pawn shop.
My parents had that. My parents had that old console TV he's talking about with the wood around it up until like 2005.
Ooh, man.
I remember my grandparents had one of those, but also had the one on the side that you lifted up the lid and it had a record player and the 8-track player. And my grandparents had one of those. So that tells you my age.
So
I remember my first.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I remember my first record player. Like my uncles just like tore my ass up because back in the day I was listening to like the old school like scratchy, and I wanted to imitate it, so I was doing the scratch, and I didn't appreciate music back then. So no, it was like the BB Kings was all scratched up, the Ray Charles was all scratched up.
Oh no, classics.
I got my ass handed to me.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you're still breathing right now.
Oh no!
Bet you never made that mistake again, did you?
Shoot, I didn't touch another record until 2 years ago when I bought my own record player.
You bought now, are you still scratching them?
Hell no.
You have a bigger appreciation of them now.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that, but it's the fact that, like, my real life, she's a general manager at Books Me, and they, sell vinyls and sell record players, which I got a record player and a couple of vinyls for Christmas. I mean, I remember back in the day, the vinyls were like $8-9. Now they're like $60.
Yeah, they're expensive.
It's the nostalgia factor, to be honest. It's like, it's the cool thing for the youngins now, so they have to up price it.
What's old becomes new again. So who were some of your favorite?
Target and like all of our shit is coming back.
Right.
So growing up, like you say, you grew up in the household with your uncles and switching the channel. And that, again, in my opinion, during the Monday Night Wars, switching the channels is one of the best parts about it.
That sucked for me.
Yeah, it probably sucked for you.
I was the remote.
Yeah. But who were some of your favorites growing up? Like, who were some of the people you watched the most, and who were some of the people that?
Oh.
Like,
Okay. Wait. Before you answer his question, let's get. You said you had one uncle that was WCW, one uncle that was WWE, but yet you were kind of stuck in between them. What was? And I still want you to answer Paul's question about who your favorite was, but which way did you lean? Which way were you leaning? WCW or WWE, or you didn't matter because it was wrestling?
At the moment, I was still learning it, so it was like it was two men slamming each other on the TV. I was in on it, you know.
Got it.
I think looking back now, I was more of a WWE fan because that's what I stuck with after, you know, obviously they got bought out. But yeah, I used to love Rey Mysterio and Sting and all the people who came. I still hate Eric Bischoff.
Why? Why?
It's just like his character is too good at being bad.
yeah, he's doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing his job. He's doing his job.
That's like what we say with Paul. That's what we say with Paul. Paul can try to go out and try to be a face, and nobody's going to buy it because they love him as a heel so much. Bischoff could never be a face.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what makes me. I don't like him because he's too good at it.
Too good at it.
Yeah, Paul and I were talking about earlier about suspending disbelief. That dude makes me believe that he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And then you watch him on his podcast or anything else, you're like, he's just a normal guy. He was doing his, he was doing what he could do, to do his job. But the people that you mentioned Rey Mysterio was one of your favorites, but Rey was in WCW, he was in ECW, and of course WWE. You mentioned Sting, who is all WCW, but went at the end there towards WWE, which I think they totally screwed that up.
Booker T was WCW too.
Right. So you've said, but did you have any people in WWE or WWF, WWE, whatever it is, at the time that you were paying attention to? Because like I said, you were being I'm the remote. I'm sitting there watching both of them. You got one uncle loves one brand, one loves another product.
I was a product of the brainwashing. I was all about, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H.
Okay.
Anything they touched was gold to me. But I think I wouldn't say my favorite, but the one I respected the most because he was so consistent with his character had to be Taker. Until he retired, you never saw him break.
Yeah, I mean, who was it? Was it Ric Flair that said that the Undertaker gimmick was the greatest gimmick in wrestling history? Because even when he evolved to the American Badass and he went from the Undertaker to the Ministry Taker to the American Badass, and he may have changed the look a little bit, but he always stayed.
He was always still him. Yeah,
but I mean,
he was always him. Even when
that gimmick had every reason to fail. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, we're bringing in a guy who's quote unquote dead, and people bought into it. Where I mean, during that time with the Undertaker, there were so many silly gimmicks that failed, and he just thrived because he was so good at that character.
Yeah, but at the time they were doing that, they were still doing. Who was the guy, the hockey player, the Goon?
The Goon.
The Godwins. The pig farmers. They said it many times. They were occupation. Yeah, they were occupations. And then, of course, the Taker come in, and what he does is an occupation. But the way they did that, I'm sorry to say, that was one of the greatest. And as simple as it was, that was one of the greatest debuts ever of a gimmick. And like Isaiah just said, the greatest gimmick ever because it never wavered.
I agree.
Yeah. I think the Soul Taker for me was Paul. Paul Soul Taker. Yes, rest in peace. Like that was my dude. Like when what WrestleMania was that when he came out and like the lights went out and you hear the gong and you hear
yeah.
Almost all of them.
I
will go back and look at those entrances and I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like
I remember going to what was it? Oh God, it was in the late 90s. Maybe it was a house show or I think it was a pay-per-view, but I remember the Undertaker coming out and went dark, and then suddenly the whole arena got cold. Like they put the air conditioner up.
Yeah.
And the whole arena got cold, and I'm like, holy shit! Like they really yeah, it was amazing. I never experienced nothing like that. It was the first time I seen the Undertaker, and how they put the air conditioner up to like blast, and the whole arena got cold. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, the same thing with me. I'd want some tickets to go to a house show. I got to see the Dudley Boys wrestle and all that. It was a SmackDown house show, and this was back when JBL was still the wrestling god, which that was great for him as well. But they did that with the Taker, was a house show, so you don't get all the pyro and all that. The lights went out, and like you said, that building went cold, and then they put a purple spotlight down on the curtain, and and as soon as that gong hit, you just felt the chills, even though you know it's a house show.
Yep.
You know it's not being televised. It didn't matter. That entrance, it didn't matter what you were watching. That entrance got your attention and kept it.
You know, you were talking about JBL. That reminded me. Like anytime this guy was on the ring, like on the ring, on the TV, I was inches away from the TV because I was waiting for him to say his catchphrase. Ron Simmons.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
You were waiting like anytime he was on TV, I was inches away from the TV waiting for him to say damn.
But isn't it funny how it turned out that he ended up being that, and JBL ended up being what he was, and due to the fact that they used to be the APA?
Yeah.
Ron Simmons. There's no Rock without Ron Simmons. You know what
Absolutely
I
not.
And like he taught. I mean, I remember listening to interviews with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He said like without Ron Simmons, you wouldn't have got me, because he's the one that gave The Rock the freedom to do a lot of stuff and to be the character he wanted to do. Where he could have actually said he had enough pull in the WWE at that time to say, "Nah, man, like you sit back." But he let The Rock do The Rock, and you have to give a lot of credit to The Rock's career to Ron Simmons.
There will be no Rock. There will be no Ron Simmons. There will be no Mark Henry.
Yeah, another one like Mark Henry. Yeah,
D'Lo Green or whatever.
And think about it: if that group, the Nation, hadn't happened, we never would have had the Godfather.
Yeah. Thinking about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Actually.
Yeah, the only one that was kind of, and I don't really want to say he was a disappointment, but out of that group, and to me, the one that, even though he was never like a main eventer, was D'Lo.
Well, his career,
D'Lo.
I think his career took a little bit of a dip after he botched that pile driver on Draws and paralyzed him. I don't think he was ever the same after that.
Yeah, I think that's what happened too. But he was one of the ones, I saw him doing something maybe like a tag team championship, or maybe like maybe at some point do an intercontinental run, but I never saw him being a main event world title. But I was kind of disappointed that happened to him, and hated what happened to Draws as well.
There's so many people that got a rub off for Ron. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even when he went through his whole damn
Farouk.
Yeah. Like Santino got a Ron Simmons rub.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah, Santino Marella, though, he didn't really need one. He was gold. He was gold by himself.
Yeah.
Especially with the comedic stuff. Okay, so Isaiah, we're sitting here, you talk about the RL wrestling, and talk about, you come into SL wrestling and got into it. Now, I'm sure you had to deal with some of the ups and downs at the beginning, like we all have. Like, nobody knows who you are. You're trying to figure out what you want to do. You're trying to figure out your gimmick. Because in SL wrestling, and this is not a jab, this is just honest truth, there's so many people that are in SL wrestling. There's so many feds out there that it's almost nearly impossible not to do something that resembles somebody else, because there's 200 people that wrestle in SL? If
that little.
Right. And, so when did you decide to come up with the Hornet? Or how did you decide to come up with the Hornet?
The Hornet was actually, I think it was Hunter's idea. Or maybe it was Ace. It was one of them. But they were like, because at that time I was really into Hurricane Helms. And they're like, oh yeah, we can make you like this little superhero. Because I was a little guy when I first started wrestling. I was like 5'9", 210 pounds, I think.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you can be fast. You can run the ropes and do high flying. So I'm like, that sounds cool. I like Hurricane Helms, and we can do all that. So I'm like, it was Ace. He's like, You can be someone who like flies. You can be I think he said you can be like the condor or something. Like I don't know, the condors are kind of big. I was like something that's like fast and it can like hit you with like a sting, and it's like why not the stinger? I'm like no. What about the wasp? He said, no. You can be the bumblebee. I'm not being no fucking bumblebee. I said, well, how about the hornet?
I can imagine this conversation right now.
So we went to the hornet, and we had the hornet sting, and I had this one move. We called it the flight of the bumblebee. I
hated it.
Eventually, I hated it, but it was like the people's elbow. But like I run the ropes, and then like I do like a cartwheel, and then a elbow drop or whatever.
Yeah, I would have hated that too.
It was tough, especially early wrestling.
Well, the thing about it is, though, early, you're not sure what, in all honesty, even when you get there, so you don't know what you want to do. You don't know if you want to pick up a gimmick and try to stand out. You don't know if you just want to be yourself and let people decide if they like you or if they dislike you, and, let the audience kind of determine if you're going to be a heel or a face. It's very difficult getting there because, like Eric Stewart, we've mentioned this before, there's so many hours in a week of SL wrestling. It is very hard for everybody to get everywhere and know who everybody is, and it's so hard to fit in. And to me, that's one of the biggest problems is finding your niche, because it seems like everybody else has theirs, and you can't, and like I said a minute ago, you can't help but to overlap because you're not familiar with it. Like when I first started, my real life, one of her favorite bands is 6 a.m., which consists of Nikki Sixx, DJ Ashbaugh, and John Michael. And they had this song called This Is Gonna Hurt, one of her favorite songs ever. So when I got into a fed that is no longer around, Powerhouse Wrestling, that was owned and run by Wolfie, that was the music I used because that's what she liked. Well, I had a show one time, Arcana. Anybody who knows who Arcana is knows, she's a sweetheart of a woman, but sometimes she come off a little bit rough. She hit me up and she's like, you need to change your music. And I'm like, why? Because that's the music I come out to. And I automatically, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I've never seen your entrance, and I had to end up changing it for the next. I had to end up changing it for the next week because it is going to happen, and it's hard not for that to happen. So you come up with the Wasp, and trying to do things to stand out. What was the most difficult part for you? Finding your look, trying to find your move combinations that signify you, or your mic skills? Which was it for you that really had to stand out?
I feel that when I first started wrestling, I wanted to be the guy for all the. I wanted to be the spot monkey, more or less. Like I wanted to be the Kofi Kingston or the Ricochet, where people look at my matches like, oh shit, he did this, But I found it easier to let my words talk for me and then back it up with actions. And there was a point where I was like super face, and like I was getting every heel over just by being like super face, and I was out there like talking with the fans and everything. And then I just told Vince, I was like, what if I went heel? And he's like, you have to try for it, I said, well, what if I quit? At first, he panicked a little bit. I was like, no, not this one. And that's why this whole like I dropped the moniker. I dropped when I first started, my hair was one side yellow and one side black. I dropped the yellow and I went straight black with like maybe some gold highlights.
Right.
I stopped. I quit. I dropped the Hornet. I just went by Isaiah Jenkins, and when I came back, I had put on some weight, like in character. I was hitting the gym or whatever. And I came back and I don't do as much high flying stuff anymore. I went more into strikes or whatever. And I find it easier now that people can see that I can be a heel, that people are giving me more opportunities to do things I couldn't do when I was like super face. Like I ran someone over with a car and then set them on fire. Like I couldn't have done that as the Hornet.
You're not blaming Insidious for that one. He never set anybody on fire.
Oh well.
You're not blaming Insidious for that one.
No,
but you're good at like the one thing. I mean, just for me being a premiere, like just watching you, and it's like you're good at that. Like you're really good at like as far as when you go out there, like people boo you, you cut promos, you insult people. Like it comes almost natural to you, almost.
It's at the end of the day, it's a video game, right? But when my trick is maybe 10 seconds before I go out there, I have to tell myself that this is real until the bell rings.
I understand that. Yeah.
So I honestly hate this guy right now. What would I say if I hated this guy right now? If I had to go out there and fight this guy, like what can I say to just like hurt his feelings and make him want to punch me in the face? You know?
Right. And
so
the one thing I respect about you, and the one thing, and I'm not going to mention, you do play other characters. So I'm not going to mention who they are, but I mean that's up to you.
Everybody knows.
That's up to you to do that. I don't want to, you know what I mean. I don't want to, that's up to you. But
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. We're going to have to bring it up when you get done.
But what I'm saying is, like, I know I'm a heel when I go out there. I go out there and I try to bring energy. I try to bring different things, but it takes me some time to like. All right, I got to get into that mindset. Like, all right, that scumbag mindset. I got to get in that mindset. It takes some time to separate myself to the screen as far as to do what I want to do on the screen. You can come out, and we talked about this before the show. You can come out as, Isaiah, you do your one thing, you come out as somebody else and do the other thing. It's amazing to me how you can switch it like that quick and go into one mindset to the other. I mean, it's very amazing to me how you do that.
The thing is, I've done all my characters so many times that it's easy to be Isaiah 1 minute and then go into Uncle Bobby the next.
Yeah.
Okay, we got okay.
I don't want to say the name. I wanted him to say.
Well, we got no. I'm sorry. We got to talk about Uncle Bobby. Okay. Okay, so we got to talk about. Okay, so before we get into the actual character of Uncle Bobby, I personally need to know. Do you recall? We were both in PW. You were doing the whole thing with, I think it was Uncle Bobby and Ryan.
We just talked about it.
And there was an incident
I almost got red tape for that.
Yeah, there was an incident that happened in a restroom, but luckily there was no video. So my question is, I was there at the time. Now, me, because I have a twisted sense of humor, I'm literally in real life laughing because I thought it was hilarious. However, due to the fact of the sounds and the things that it was insinuated, I have two questions. Number one, you just said you almost got red tape, so I want to know how much trouble you got into. And number two, whose idea was that?
See, the whole thing, the whole segment was supposed to be Uncle Bobby. Was it Uncle Bobby that ran up on Ryan, or Ryan ran up? One of us ran up on the other while we were in the bathroom, and we're supposed to do a little bickering, and then the camera was supposed to cut, and then we're supposed to fight. The thing is, Ryan likes to talk, and I'm one to stay in character. I'm not gonna be like, okay, I'm just gonna shut up and let this guy talk. So it went on longer than it did, and it just got more deep with the characters, and we just ended up fighting and arguing, and then Uncle Bobby ended up saying, "We're gonna get butt naked up in here" before the mic went off, And I couldn't use Bobby for like a month after that because Vince was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I was doing talent relations at the time, and there was a lot of people that were a little upset with that.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that had a lot to say about that one.
I can see why, yes. But at the same time, it's like, you weren't supposed to talk that much, guy.
Yeah.
Just let's get to the fight.
But it's memorable. But it's memorable. We're still talking about it today. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm curious about, like you said, we know Ryan likes to talk. Mm-hmm. And Ryan's and Ryan is notorious. And I'm gonna say, if you're listening to this, Ryan, you are fucking notorious for this. He's notorious for trying to catch people off guard. He wants to say something to try to stumble you because he'll say random off the wall shit out of nowhere just try to trip you up. So my question is that he kept talking and you did what you did. What was his reaction afterwards?
You see, he didn't think he was doing anything wrong, but I was trying to tell him that, Uncle Bobby didn't want to back down from a fight. And if you're going to jab your jaws at Uncle Bobby going to tell you how to use your mouth.
Well, I could say firsthand. I was doing commentary at the time, and Ryan was on. Me and Ryan were doing commentary, and I don't want to, divulge into conversations, but he was saying, "I'm like, yo, man, like, what was that all about?" He's like, "Oh, I kicked his ass." I'm like, "I don't know if you kicked his ass in that bathroom, dude, because it insinuated so many other things, bro." Like,
right?
I don't know if you're watching the same video I am.
Right, because the first thing it happened years before, but if you think about it, we had that incident, and then we had the cleansing incident at OEW.
Yeah.
Just way too many things going on at once.
That one was bad.
Right. So now with the Uncle Bobby, not going to lie, first thing that comes to mind when you start talking, and especially the fact when you start talking about cornbread, I start thinking about the movie Life.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, so I was right?
Yep.
Uncle Bobby is an amalgamation of Cookie from Life, Sling Blade, and the Booty Warrior from Boondocks.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about the one about the Boondocks, but I knew about. Like I said, I saw Life. Especially, didn't get my corn. You gonna eat your cornbread? He didn't get my cornbread. That's the first thing I saw that. And I was like, oh my god, that's straight from Life.
I haven't seen that movie in years. Like I knew the Sling Blade one because he always goes like Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade.
Right, which is really great too.
Yeah. That's a great
so Uncle Bobby likes you, and he wants you. Now we can do this the easy way. We can do this the hard way. The choice is yours.
Okay, so let me ask this: we have Isaiah Jenkins. You've been in wrestling for a little while. You're starting to gain traction. How or why prompted you to create and with Uncle Bobby? What was the thought process behind bringing him in?
As with all my alts, they were a necessary creation of the time. At the time, we had heels, but they were all like the scrawny guys. Because I believe Hunter had just quit. Danny was a face. Ace was a face at the time. LG was a face at the time. We didn't have any like beefy heels. So I was like, I got this alt that I can, just bring over. And Vince was like, go for it, So I went the whole first season without saying anything. And then like they made me have a promo that they wrote me in for a promo the second season for Bobby. And I was like, fuck, what does Bobby sound like? What is his backstory? So it's like, yeah, he's from prison and he's an older guy, the older guy, they have a little rough voice, he's gonna come down here, slow down with Texas, from the old school.
So in other words, you're basically telling me that the Uncle Bobby persona was except for actually already having the avatar, you had to pretty much make it up on the spot.
Yes, because I had a promo and I was like, what would he do in this? It's like Leroy, it's like Velma, like they're all creations of their time that the wrestling company at that point needed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to get Uncle Bobby on here one time.
Oh God, I don't think my voice can take that much.
Well, you can do a lot of the. Yeah, boy.
Uncle Bobby gonna make sure you eat your cornbread and that whiskey, that prison hooch.
Oh man.
All right, really quick. Let's get some bills paid here. All right, thank you for listening to us on Darkstar Radio at darkstarradio.com. We have Aran's Domain, Limitless Pro Wrestling, also known as LPW, and we have All Victory Wrestling, also known as AVW. Thank you all very much for supporting the show. We are all very appreciative.
Oh, real quick, DK, let's just talk about this. We're going to be one of the main sponsors for Premiere this season.
Yeah, well, if you noticed the other day, I got drafted to Overload, not knowing it. So yeah, you have attitude. I have. Where you at, Isaiah? Which
me?
Isaiah's on attitude.
Isaiah's attitude. Where's Bobby at?
Isaiah's attitude and Uncle Bobby's on overload.
BK.
Okay, yeah. You know what? That's what we are.
Let me seeing you, pretty boy.
That's what we ought to do. Let's get myself and Uncle Bobby into a feud, and we'll go out there and we'll cut promos on each other.
So let me ask you guys.
Cornbread, Uncle Bobby's gonna be happy.
So let's
see. I'd come back.
Go ahead.
I'd come back with something like. What? You look for a little cream in the coffee? See, that would be me.
Oh wow.
That would be me.
Look, between getting butt naked in the bathroom with Ryan and you talking about some cream,
Yeah.
Uncle Bobby gonna get blacklisted.
So let's talk about you were recently, I think it was last year, right? You recently got inducted into the PW Hall of Fame. Was that was that a surprise for you? Was that a surprise?
Yes, that was the second year around doing the first year around I was on the committee.
Right.
And I was like, these guys that we picked last year, like, they're great. I grew up, but like they were vets when I just started, and like for them to acknowledge me this year. No, it wasn't. Like last year was second year. So this is the third year.
Okay, yeah, the second year.
But anyways, it's like, for them to be like, you are one of these people now. It touched. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had to mute my mic because I got a little choked up when they told me I was getting inducted. I was like, holy shit, I'm like a vet now.
Yeah.
I'm one of the old guys.
now you're a vet, even though you've been doing this 100 years.
Right, but it's also, I mean, in all reality, like, it's also a testament to how good you are, like, with all your characters. Like, you have multiple characters, and each one of your characters,
God, you should hear Velma.
Hey, you get them all over. My God. You get them all over. People pay attention to you. People boo. People cheer you. So, it's a testament to how good you really are.
Yeah, it really is. And if you think about it, for some, in all honesty, now, like for me, everybody knows who BK is. So there are some people who know who the name Insidious. A lot of people did not know that Insidious is me. And I can get Insidious over because he doesn't speak. It's just actions. Before, that was the same thing, was he never spoke. It was just actions. But for you to have three characters, all three of them had different personalities, and all three of them might as well go ahead and compare. Oh, okay. See, I knew about three. Okay, so you got four. So if you think about it, with you being able to do that, especially with a female, Uncle Bobby, yourself, and who's the other one?
Leroy.
Okay, Leroy. You got four characters right there, all different personalities, and you can pull them all off and switch just like that. I'm sorry and I know people are going to argue with me on this, but that's Mick Foley level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I could go from the Leroy to Isaiah thing can't really happen because they're the same voice, except Isaiah's a little bit lower. Isaiah's down here, a little bit more serious. And Leroy's
it's also different, but it's a different personality. Like you, Isaiah, may come out and cut a promo on me and say, "Hey, BK, great to see you. Great being on the show. This and that and everything else. Hey, what do you think about being a tag team?" Leroy may come out and say, "Hey, you know what? Go fuck yourself."
No, Leroy is my normal voice, just sped up like maybe a hitch, and it's like someone drinking Red Bull. Like they're always talking fast. Always gotta go faster. And his whole thing was, I don't care if you boo me. I don't care if you cheer for me. But at the end of the day, you're gonna scream my name, and my name is Leroy. The whole thing.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. But I'm just saying, you got all different personalities, and and if you had to, I'm sure you could pull off one of those things like Mick Foley did, where you could do a video and you could have all three characters, and you could just switch in between. Like you could talk like Isaiah, have Uncle Bobby come out, have Velma come out, and then and you could probably do it, and it'd just be flawless. That I don't know if you understand exactly how much talent that takes.
A lot, yeah, it does.
So for you,
if I ever did like a elimination with intergenders, I can probably come out as Velma and then come out as Uncle Bobby, and then Isaiah, So
and I understand you getting choked up, but I mean that's entertainment. That's entertainment in SL. Or anywhere. That's entertainment at the highest level. So for you to be put into the Hall of Fame, that I understand the emotional and getting choked up, and but that was a no-brainer. Actually, that's something, and I'm not going to lie, I'm glad you did get in there. You probably should have been in there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there
But
was a couple seasons
better
there
late.
where I was doing
But better
all
late
four
than never.
characters all week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, see that's got to be
Yeah,
brutal.
I was doing because I think Velma was on Attitude with Isaiah, and Leroy was on Rise, and Uncle Bobby was on Overload. So it was literally like every other day I was a different character, and it was plus all the alts. If someone needed to be filled in, so
Right.
it's like I would log in. I'm like, who am I today? It got a little bit much, so I had to like ask
Well,
someone.
yeah.
Well, it's probably
Well, yeah. I
easier
mean,
now that you have one on Overload and one on Attitude. Like your Isaiah's on Attitude and Uncle Bobby's on Overload. It's probably
Okay,
easier for you.
there was a time like back before Velma and Leroy existed where Uncle Bobby and Isaiah were on the same roster, and I had to do a scene with myself as Isaiah being consoled by his uncle because he had his
Wow.
back broken. So
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't remember what season it was, but Isaiah had just gotten his back broken by Ryan Jameson, so he was laying out. He was all crying. He was talking like this, and I don't think I can wrestle anymore, Uncle. And then Uncle Bobby's in the same scene talking, "Hey, I got you, nephew. I'm gonna make sure you get your revenge." It's the same thing. And then people thought I was actually crying. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That
impressive.
I'm sorry to say that takes talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't really, and honestly, I don't know if anybody else would even attend. I would never attempted that. I would never have tried. I would have confused and like, oh yeah, I got to go talk to Uncle Bobby now, and I forget, and Uncle Bobby's voice would come out on Velma.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
but
impressed about with him. Like I said, like it takes me a while to get into that mindset, and like how he can do it like that. It's impressive.
Absolutely is. Okay,
yeah,
so go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah, it just takes it. I like to entertain, so that and I've been doing this for a while, so I can go from one character to the other, and it's a mental thing for me. Like I was saying earlier, it's like maybe like 10 seconds before my promo or my match, I am that character or those characters. So like whatever I'm feeling for those characters in that little span of time, that's how I am. So if I have to be fucking Velma yelling at Bobby, then hey, I'm a 7 foot tall Amazonian black female yelling at this big old black bald ex-con dude. So it's like, okay.
Right. Okay, so you have the four different characters, and I'm gonna go ahead. I know Uncle Bobby's been in the ring. I know Isaiah's been in the ring. I know Leroy's been in the ring. I'm sure Velma's been in the ring.
Oh yeah.
So this is something that we've asked, but usually when we ask it, it's only aimed at one avatar. So this was going to be aimed at four different avatars. Even though you portrayed all of them, it was four different matches. Favorite match from each one of them?
My favorite match as Leroy had to be when they brought him over from Rise to Overload to as a special special opponent for Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And his back was already broken, and he was on the road to recovery. And Uncle Bobby, the whole match was, I'm not gonna fight my boy. I'm not gonna fight my boy. I think Danny Thunder was logged in as Leroy at the moment because I can't physically run both of them.
Right.
But like the whole thing was like Leroy was like aggressive. I gotta show myself I'm better. I can still do this. And Uncle Bobby was whole like, hey, I can't fight my son. I'm not gonna fight my son. And Leroy did something to piss Uncle Bobby off, and he did like a 7 or 8 Germans in a row, and like at the end of the German, I had like a snapping sound in the gesture, and it made like Leroy broke his back. And he was like, "Oh, help my boy!" And they had to like take him out. That was my favorite Leroy match because it was like so emotional. My favorite Velma match, I forget who she was fighting, but the first time she came out with Lucy, and Fire was doing commentary, and she's like, "Snake," And I was like, yeah, that's gonna stick.
Okay, favorite match is Isaiah.
Oh, favorite match as Isaiah. It would have to be a recent one against X because Isaiah, I believe I use a kitchen sink, a cinder block, a Lord Zed staff, a freaking Pokeball.
What?
Like, just to fight this guy. Like,
Did you win?
I think I lost that one.
Yeah, it was at the mid-season finale, wasn't it? Wasn't it the mid-season?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you hit X in the head with a Pokeball, it's not going to hurt him. We know he's got a heart.
It was like a big old Pokeball. Like, okay, for instance, one of the child avatars was standing on the Pokeball at the moment, and I took it from under the child, and we didn't tell them that they were getting it taken from under them. We're just like, hey, we need you to stand here because we noticed you always have a stool raised out. We made you the special stool. And for Isaiah to come over and just like steal it from them, it was shocking to them and everybody else.
Okay, that's pretty good. Taking the kid's stool. Please tell me it wasn't Baby Chrissy.
It was Baby Chrissy.
Oh no!
Of course it was.
Oh, of course it was. The one child Abby in all SL that would stand up to anybody, not afraid of anybody. You're going to take her stool. Oh, I hope she does not hear this.
Baby Chrissy was actually a really good sport about it after. She didn't know, but like it was in that moment. It was like everybody was like, "Oh my God, Isaiah's an asshole. He's taking things from children." Yes, that's the exact like reaction I want.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
my favorite Bobby match. My favorite Bobby match.
You had some good ones with Derek Zane this past season.
I don't know. I just can't pick one. I think my favorite...
So how about for Bobby? Okay, favorite opponent then.
Favorite opponent,
except for Ryan Jameson.
My favorite opponent for Uncle Bobby has to be probably. I want to say either Derek or John Dennis, because they both have like Uncle Bobby's is like nice, cool, calm, collected guy, and both of them are like talkative assholes, more or less. Sorry, guys, you are in character at least. So it's like, it's that good dynamic that I loved about that.
Well, did you listen to the Derek Zane episode when we had him on here?
Not yet.
You need to go check him out, especially when he does his Christopher Walken thing.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. You got a lot of episodes to catch up on. Okay, so you said that, your favorite opponent or opponents and your favorite match. What is a dream match in what kind? What is your dream opponent in what kind of match?
My dream opponent in any match
You're damn
would
right
have to be... Actually, it would have to be Onyx versus the roster in a gauntlet match.
Wow.
Whoa. That's a hell of a match. A gauntlet match. Onyx versus are you trying to get somebody hurt?
I know Ren and Jordan and I can handle it.
Okay. All right. Well,
like,
I mean,
is that in VWE or is that in?
Would have to be in VWE because I don't. That would have to be in VWE because I don't think Jordan can make Mondays. But I think like we have enough chemistry that we can like write down bullet points between the three of us and just be like, "Hey, I'm doing this," and then like if I say on the match Uso super kick, Jordan's gonna be like, "Okay, that's me." That's me and Isaiah. If I put on there the unexpected, Red's gonna be like, "Oh, that's me and Isaiah," and they have one together. And it's like we have a dynamic triangle between us where we feed off of each other and we make each other better.
Yeah, I
I
understand
tell you
that.
So
what, though,
like
I completely get that. But talking about Onyx against the whole roster, that's a.
the whole roster.
Would you really consider that a dream match, or would you consider that a suicide match?
That's a dream match because my dream for Onyx is we're coming after everything. We want everything. We want all the belts. We want the men's belts. We want heavyweight belts. We want tag belts. We want trios belts. We want women's belts. You know, BK, if you come around Onyx and you wearing a belt on your pants, we're gonna take that too.
Okay. Hey, at least you warned me, right?
No belts around Onyx. No
No belts around
championship.
Onyx. Got you. Okay, so we've said it before. You've been in this in the wrestling community for quite a while. A couple
Mm-hmm.
of feds. Now this is a question that we do ask because I like getting everybody's different opinions. What is something that you have noticed that SL Wrestling has lost that you wish they would get back?
Um.
And I'm not talking about fans because everything comes in spurts. Like right now, we're getting ready to come to the end of the school year, and people are going to be taking family vacations. So over the summer,
Yeah.
attendance is going to drop, and then it'll pick back up over the winter. I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about just the wrestling itself. What is something
I'm.
that
I'm
you really
thinking.
liked when you came in that everybody's kind of got away from, and even you might have found yourself getting away from, but you're like, you know what? I really wish that we could get back to this because that was that
The
made it
wow
more special.
factor.
Okay,
The
explain.
wow factor because I like the like, and some people will say, "Oh, he's gatekeeping," and it's not gatekeeping. It's just keeping the gate ajar.
Okay.
There's so many people now that are coming behind the scenes that it's kind of hard to keep that veil of wow, these guys are special. Who said this? Megamind? No, the guy from The Incredibles, Syndrome. If everyone is special, then no one is.
Yeah.
You know. So
Okay.
if we let everyone just like come in and be a wrestler, then like there's no one to put on shows for. There's no wow factor anymore. Because when I first joined, I was like, wow, these guys are great.
Yeah.
Wow, they're like kicking each other's asses. And now that I'm backstage, I'm like, okay, this is this spot. This is this move. This is this pinfall that's coming up, It's more picking it apart. So I kind of miss the wow factor of not knowing what's going to happen before. Yeah.
But you're also saying wow factors. You're, because earlier you had mentioned that you had this whole plan worked out, and basically somebody, let the cat out of the bag. Is that something that you feel happens too? Because of we all have friends. We all have, we're going to do this, and we want to, but got too many people that just don't know. Okay, it's character. Let's help them with it. They're like, oh, I know this, so I'm going to tell you anyway. And it kind of, you think maybe that's kind of a thing. And I don't want to say backstabbing.
That's part of the wow factor that's being lost is that no one. How can I say? No one knows how to
Kayfabe.
shut their mouth. Thank you. That's a better way to put it. No one knows how to kayfabe it anymore because like everybody has to tell everybody, and it's like, no, if I want to like come up with this thing where I'm, I don't know, giving Riot, if I'm giving X a wedgie. I don't want everybody to be like, oh, he's gonna give him a wedgie. Watch this. Like, no, bro, it's ruining the wow. You're not experiencing it. You're expecting it.
Right. Because that was one of the issues that Paul and I had over at OEW when he was doing the storyline with Hal, where Paul was pulling off the face, and then the swerve was he turns on, shows his true colors, Insidious comes out. That was hard for us to keep secret because so many people knew us, and they're like, Paul, you're not. Paul so bad wanted to tell him, just wait. Paul's like, look, I'm just playing my. We come up with everything to keep that particular time or that particular moment as secret as we possibly could. We told like nobody, and that was so hard because everybody was wanting to know what Paul was doing, and then also Insidious shows up backstage. What's Insidious doing back there? Because he hadn't been there all season. It's like well, he's thinking about coming back in. We had to come up with all kinds of stuff to throw people off from knowing that he was actually coming in to make his debut.
Yeah, the whole thing
Yeah.
is, even if you don't tell people, it's like being behind the curtain. You see things that you don't see when you're just a fan. Like
Mhm.
you see people pop up backstage. Oh, they're about to do something.
Yeah.
It's like where you're out in the stage. You're like, oh, this person's out there. Holy shit! I didn't know he was back there. You know, because you're
Yeah.
not looking backstage.
Right.
Like I said, people say I'm gatekeeping. I say I keep the gate ajar. You know.
You're right,
Well, I
though.
mean,
I
there's a
mean,
little.
but it's like one of the things. The problem is, like you said, people seeing people backstage is like, there's nothing we could do to help that. As far as, um, I know, like a couple of things that we did was like, all right, look, you're gonna, come in this match, stay at your home or whatever, and we'll teleport you when that comes. But then the problem is, all right, well, if you teleport me, then I'm going to be a orange poof, and no one's going to see me. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many
Exactly.
there's so many different things that like stuff that we can't prevent to really reveal a surprise because of how Second Life is really.
I believe Friday before last, I had crashed when I was at VWE, and I had logged in as soon as I could. You know, but for like 5 seconds, I was standing there buck ass naked,
Yeah.
and they would not let me live it down.
Like that hasn't happened to all of us at some point in time.
I mean, shit, I charge for this, kind of service. Yeah, I don't get this shit for free.
All right, well, we're just about out of time here, Isaiah, and once again, we do want to thank you. But one thing that we do afford the opportunity is, or what we try to is at the end, when we're talking to veterans of yourself and people who have been in the business for a while, and we are hoping to reach people who may be interested in joining wrestling or didn't even know that wrestling existed in SL or, whatever their situation may be. So this is your opportunity to take the platform. Anything that you want to say to anybody listening that, something you may want them to know about you or whatever. And also make sure that there's anything that you want to say to people who could possibly be thinking about coming into it. Do you have anything that you'd like to pass on to them? Since, I mean, you are a Hall of Famer, so that means you know what the fuck you're doing.
Listen, if you're thinking about wrestling, don't jump into it with both feet. Watch the product beforehand. Become a fan beforehand before you go backstage. I believe in my heart of hearts that the best wrestlers come from the stands because they are engrossed in it. They want to eat it up. They drink and they live it because they want to know what happens next. If you come in and you're just like, "Oh, I'm running a beauty contest, so I know how to do all this, so no one can tell me to do anything," you're going to be a shit wrestler and no one's going to like you.
Okay, fair enough.
So be a fan before you be a wrestler.
Okay. Yeah, and also if you're gonna learn how to commentate, make sure you learn the wrestling moves and don't just say flippy shit and high flying shit and they punched them and stuff like that. Learn, yeah, become a fan. Learn the business first. I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
And learn how it
All
works,
right.
like how we do things, like how, you know what I mean. I can't say that I'm a wrestler. I wrestled a few matches, but just like just learn how it works, like how how to get yourself over, how to get people to react to you. That's one of the bigger things too.
That's like I said,
And
like
also,
people to this day still believe that most of wrestling is pose balls. And it's like, no, that's insulting.
Yeah,
yeah, that was years ago.
That was a different kind of wrestling.
yeah,
Right, but also at the same time, and this is for me, if you are deciding to come in, don't be afraid to ask somebody other than your trainer or your trainers because they are there to get your basics down. When you want to learn other stuff, yeah, they're going to teach you that, but go to people and like, hey, I see how you do this. I like this. Can you show me? Can you teach me? Don't just listen to one or two people. Try to get as much knowledge as you can. Now you have the people who would be like, or are basically like, I don't have time for you because they forget that they were a day one rookie.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to ask. I mean, you're gonna get some people who won't help you, but you're gonna get a lot of people who will because they want to see you succeed. They want to see the next evolution of the next basically generation of wrestlers in SL. It can't be the same ones all the time because eventually we're not going to be here.
And you have to also realize that sometimes people have off days. Like sometimes people are just tired and they don't have time at that point in time to help you. And they'll say, "Hey, I'm going to sleep right now. Hit me up in the morning and I'll help you." That's not them being rude. That's just them saying, "Hey, I need sleep so I can be the best person to teach you what you want to do." You know?
That's a good point.
Absolutely. All right, Paul, do we have anything else?
Now, what are we at? 80 some subscribers, BK? We're almost at our goal of 100. We're almost there.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? We were at. We did 81. I think we're at 81. Let me do a real quick check here. I get off of there. I'm not doing that. Okay, there we go. We're actually at 82 right now.
82. So as what? 18 more. 18 more people have a big giveaway.
I'll tell you what. If you guys can get 100 subscribers, I will bring Uncle Bobby here and do the whole.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, we're also doing a giveaway at 100 subscribers. We got a couple of our sponsors going to jump in there, and we're trying to build it up. So the first one was 50, and the next one was 100. Been a little bit harder to get to 100, but we're slowly but surely getting there. All right, so you heard it. We get 100 subscribers. Uncle Bobby's going to come on the show.
Uncle Bobby.
Maybe we should see if we get Ryan here too.
Oh.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
keep it out there. We don't have a dad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you go and check out all of the premiere, the LPW, the shows, everything we have, all kinds of wrestling shows here. Make sure you get in World, make sure you get them all, and attend as many as you possibly can. Isaiah, it has been a great pleasure having you here, and I definitely look forward to getting Uncle Bobby over here. Paul, it's always fun for us to get together and talk with the old veterans and get to have laughs and stuff like this. So, ladies and gentlemen,
we always find a different perspective, Isaiah. You gave us a different perspective to that. Really appreciate it coming on.
Yes, like I said, I can ask one question to 5 people, and I'll get 5 different answers.
Yep.
So that's what we want to look. So once again, Isaiah, thank you very much. Definitely going to be looking forward to working with you over at Premiere, even though it's going to be your last season. I know you probably got some.
No. Last season as management. I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, as management. Okay, well then I look forward to you looking at my stories and going, "What the fuck are you smoking, bud?" You know, well, which actually that's what I am smoking. What are you smoking? You know, but with the stories and all that. So we need to change this. This is a little bit too, So I'm looking forward to doing some rewrites, which I'm sure I'll have to do. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you all next time right here on the Fourth Wall.